Hello, Gothic literature lovers and horror fans. I am J.S. Lamore, aka Jax. Welcome back to Ravens and Writing Desks. Today, I am here with Rosalyn Briar, the author of Her Dark Enchantments, being published by Quill Crow Publishing House. You can check them out at quillandcrowpublishinghouse.com and check out their merch at theircrowshop.com. And I'm ready to welcome Rosalyn to the studio. Rosalyn Briar, thank you so much for being on Ravens and Writing Us. I'm so excited to have you here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am so thrilled to be here.
I'm really excited to talk to you about your new book, Her Dark Enchantments. So tell me a little bit what it's about and how you got inspired to write it.
All right, that's a good question. So, Her Dark Enchantments, it's a dark fantasy novel about the origins of the wicked fairy from Sleeping Beauty. And my main character is Mirabelle. And she is a fairy healer in the Sleepywood Company. And yeah, and she has to be there as a healer, but most of the people are afraid of her because of her fairy magic. And so that's sort of where the story starts out. And
Okay.
I was inspired to write this story all based on a poem that I had written. So a couple of years ago, I was taking part in this poetry and flash fiction challenge on Instagram, and
Okay,
I had
very cool.
written this poem, and it was sort of witchy and dark, and I just couldn't stop thinking about the two characters that were in this piece of poetry, or it was also sort of a flash fiction, and I couldn't stop thinking about them. And so I thought, I think this has a story behind it. And so I just started exploring from there. I was sort of working on some other projects, and it kind of clicked with me that I always write fairy tale retellings or something to do with fairy tales.
Yeah.
So it sort of clicked with me early on that this character wasn't going to be a princess. She was going to be an anti-hero type of character. So
Yeah.
I had to go from there and turn things around of what I normally do. And I knew she
Very
was
cool.
going to be the villain. So, or at least
Very
become
cool.
one. Yeah.
And is there somewhere we can read this poem? Is it still out there in the internet webs?
Yeah, it's probably still on my Instagram somewhere long ago, but I am going to be giving away a copy of a poetry collection of a bunch of poems that are kind of a companion with Her Dark Enchantments, and that is the first poem in the collection, and I'm giving that
Oh,
away
very
as
cool.
a pre-order gift, like, to people who pre-order the book, but they have to sign up, through they have to, sign up for it. So, um, yeah, so if you guys, wanna find me on maybe Instagram, I'm at Rosalyn Briar, and if you click on my link in my bio, you'll see all the pre-order giveaway information. But yeah, so that poem
Yeah,
is out there, and maybe I'll post it again as we get closer to the date.
very cool. And I will put all of Rosalind's information in the description below so you guys can follow her and find her online and check out all her writing and uh, find that poem and maybe sign up to pre-order her book. I've seen some early reviews on it and people are really excited about it and they said it's amazing. There's a lot of good chatter out there about it, so I'm excited to read it myself. I love fairy tale retellings and I've done a couple myself. I'm working on a couple right now, or one right now, the Pied Piper. So
Oh, fun. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, that is awesome.
yeah. So how long have you been writing?
Oh, let's see. I always can judge how long I've been writing because I didn't start writing until my second child had been was born. So um, she'll she's about 5.5 now. So I guess I probably didn't start writing right away, but maybe around that half year mark. So I guess about 5 years, um,
Okay.
which is just kind of crazy to think because it's such a big part of me now that it's
Yeah.
hard to think about what life was like before writing. But then again, I can sort of think about that with my kids. They're such a big part of
Right.
me. Can't imagine life without them, but that's how life goes. And so, yeah, about 5 years, and I I don't know, not looking back now. I love it.
It's it kind of takes you over, right?
Yeah, it really does.
I was the same way. I started writing because after my second child was born, I decided to become a stay-at-home mom, and then I'm not very good at sitting still, so I needed something to occupy my time, and I was like, "Well, I have this idea for this fantasy series or book." It was supposed to be just a standalone book, and I'm gonna give it a shot. It may come to nothing, but I just started writing, and then it turned into a 3-book trilogy, and it was all it was all history from there.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. I did not know that about you, and yeah, that's so cool that we have sort of that in common, like, after
Yeah,
we had kids, and I also, ended up being a stay-at-home mom, and, um, yeah, I had to have something to spend my
yeah,
creative energy on because I had
yeah,
been a teacher before that, and which is exhausting.
yeah,
Kudos to all the teachers out there, it's exhausting. But when I was stay-at-home mom, not that it's not exhausting to be a stay-at-home mom, but I have so much creative energy that I have to do something with it, so
yeah. Oh, I agree, yeah.
mhm.
Is this your first full-length novel, or do you have others?
It is not my first full-length novel. I have I've published 3 novels previously. 2 2 sort of, well, 2 of them were independently published, and then one of them was with a book box set, which has now the rights have now reverted back to me, so I need to publish that one on my own just to get it back out there, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I've published 3 books, but this is my first one published with a publishing house, and I am just so thrilled.
Exciting.
It feels really
Yeah.
big to me.
And how do you like Quill and Crow?
Oh my gosh. I love Quill and Crow so much. I've been a huge fan, from the beginning. I was a fan of the owner Cassandra's work, um, and just her social media platforms and everything. I was a
Yeah.
huge fan for a long time, and then when they put out that they were taking novel submissions, that was around the time I was querying Her Dark Enchantments, and I was sort of scared to query with Quill and Crow just because I knew it would be, it would be a big emotional hurdle where
Yeah.
it's one thing if you're querying publishing houses and agents that you don't know very well, or but this was like I was a big fan, so it
Yeah.
was a big deal to me, but I was so lucky, and every
I was
step
gonna
of the way
and
has
look how it turned out. It's so
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, every step of the way has been amazing.
Yeah. They really are fantastic. It's like a big family, and I love being there. Um, I I started out there with Crow Calls, so and then I've just been there, I think 2 a year and a half now, maybe?
Oh, wow.
It's been a little while, maybe a year. It
Mhm.
time isn't real, it's an illusion to me, so I don't know, but I think about a year, maybe a little bit longer, but yeah. Just, Crow Calls is how I got started. Was in volume 2? 2, yeah,
Oh, wow.
and then now in 4, and our upcoming volume 5.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. So, yeah, you've been there with Quill and Crow for a while.
Yeah, I have, and I love it. Cassandra's amazing, and everybody with Quill and Crow are just amazing people, and working with them and for Cassandra has just been a great experience, and it's really moved me along in my career and done wonders for my writing. So, yeah, it's been a great experience.
It really does. Do you find now knowing that you also write novels, do you find that writing poetry like helps with your prose and your writing? Do you like
Uh,
to, how do you feel
I
about
I think it really does.
that? Mhm.
I I always give this as advice when people are like, "Oh, I'm really struggling to get into my work in progress. I can't." My advice is always take a break, step back, maybe try poetry, even if it's not your thing. The shorter form writing might get those creative juices flowing, and it's not something you have to commit to for long periods of time like a novel. So try poetry or a short story just to get those juices flowing. So I do find that poetry helps me in my longer projects, just to keep my mind working and to keep the words on paper. So that's always my advice. Write
Yeah.
poetry, even if it's not your thing. Anything really can be poetry. It doesn't have to rhyme. It doesn't have to be structured, just to get the words on the paper. So, yeah, that's always my advice.
Ooh, I love that.
Her Dark Enchantments, when does that come out?
It comes out on April 25th. And yeah,
Oh,
I'm so
very cool.
excited. It's getting close.
How does your family feel about you writing, and are they supportive? Are they, um, your husband, I'm sure is, or like extended family, the whole thing? How does everybody feel about this journey that you're on?
Yeah, it's been, yeah, definitely a journey. I'm very lucky that um, so many people in my life have supported me writing. My husband is um, such a huge supporter, and he's always so happy for me. And um, any news I get or anything, even if I just, finish a book or whatever, he's always there to help celebrate with me. And so, yeah, he's a huge supporter. Um, my kids love it. They'll look at my books or, they're like, "Did you write this?" And I'm like, "Well, did you make this book?" And I'm like, "Well,
Yeah.
I wrote the words inside of the book." And then, so now any book that's like a bigger, a chapter book or whatever, they'll be like, "Did you write this?" I'm like, "No, I didn't write every book." But no, they're big fans. They don't like that I use a pen name.
Oh,
Like,
really?
"Why don't you use your real name?" But yeah, the rest of my family and friends, they've all been really cool about it and just super supportive. And yeah, I'm definitely lucky in that regard. I think there are
That's
some
very
people
good.
in my life who maybe weren't surprised because I always have had to do something creative. So they weren't surprised by it, but they're definitely happy for me.
Right. Have you always been a big reader?
Yeah. Yeah. I've always loved reading. Yeah, I think I know I owned like the very first Kindle that ever came out. Like I've just always been um, a huge reader, loved reading books, and I loved writing poetry and things like that even since high school. So I think it was
Yeah.
always in me to be a writer.
Right. What was that book, when you're little and you read that book and it was just like you were hooked from there. What was it?
I actually probably have it behind me. So I had bought this for my kid, but it's because this is the book that got me hooked on reading when I was a kid, and it's Ella Enchanted. So it's probably why I love fairy tale retelling
Oh,
so much.
okay.
Yeah,
Very
Ella
cool.
Enchanted. And so
I
I
have
bought
not
that
read that
one.
one, but I love the movie, but I have not read the book. I need to pick it up.
It
Uh,
was, I remember I was I was a kid and I couldn't put it down. I just like I would read it even if I was supposed to be eating dinner. I'd just be like reading it at the table, and yeah, that really got me hooked on reading.
that's very cool. Mine was James and the Giant Peach.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I read it in first grade, I think, and you're just like I couldn't put it down after, or I couldn't stop reading after that, and just
Mhm.
always had a book. So, and
Yeah.
now though, I do you still read a lot? Because I feel that I read a lot less since I started writing. But I just like always have words somewhere, so I need to zone out after. How do you feel, or how do you find your reading habits have changed, or have they stayed the same?
That's true. I think sometimes if especially if I'm in the middle of drafting a novel, um, it almost becomes an obsession, and I definitely don't have time to read outside of that. But when I'm not actively drafting, if I'm, taking a break from writing, or if I'm, uh, or editing or revising, I usually try to read while I'm doing that, or kind of do a little bit of each. But you're right. I think once I'm drafting, it is hard to get into a book,
Yeah.
but I do try my best to read as much as I can, and I try to especially like my friends' books, if because now being on social media as a writer for these past few years, I've made so many writing friends, and so if they have a book
Yeah.
come out, I want to read it, I want to review it for them, and so
Oh, yeah,
I
absolutely.
try to make that time.
What's your least favorite part about writing? Like, what do you
Ooh.
hate doing?
That's a good question because, um, gosh, I don't know. I kind of like it. I like so much of it, so probably it would just be more of like the least favorite part, and that probably has to do with things like as an indie author, like when I was um, publishing, like self-publishing books. The worst part of that is more of like the final formatting and
Yes. Yes.
uploading, and just that kind of nightmare of making sure everything is done before your release day. That's
Yes.
the least
I
favorite.
agree.
But gosh, with working with Quill and Crow this time with this book, I don't know if there's been a least favorite time. It's all been exciting. Um, and I do like revising. I think revising is probably my favorite part, which I know is a lot of authors hate
Yeah.
revising. So
I was gonna say, you're probably in the uh, minority there because a lot of people hate editing and revising.
yeah, I love it. I just like seeing the book change,
Yeah.
and like knowing I can do better with every
Right.
revision. Like, okay, I'm gonna do
I
this.
like the revising stage. I do not like the
Mhm.
proofreading and copy editing, line editing stage. It's so
Mhm.
tedious, and then you still miss typos and
That's true. It is that part is boring. Yeah, when you're just
yeah,
going through like your editors and you're just like, accept, accept. 'Cause I'm like, unless
yeah,
I see something totally wrong, like they know more than me, so accept, accept, accept. But it's so
yeah.
boring.
Luckily, the Quill and Crow has fantastic editors.
They do.
They are amazing.
Yeah, it was definitely, especially, yeah, I was blown away each round because they do developmental edits, and then they do the line editing, and it's all been amazing. I was
Yeah,
blown away each round of editing, so was very happy with all of that. But yeah, I think that the last part where and then proofreading is difficult for the author to do, because you've gone through the novel so many times yourself
oh
that
yeah,
you're not going to see it. You're not going to see a
yeah. I
mistake.
know.
So hard.
I think that, and that's so hard for readers and people who aren't in the business to understand. Like, your brain just skips right over it. You know what's supposed to be there, and so you don't necessarily see what is there because you wrote the story, you read the story a million times, you've gone through it a million times, and your brain is just kind of on autopilot at that point. And we're all human, we miss things. So it's frustrating to see people be like, "Well, you missed this blah blah." I'm like, "I know."
Yeah, it's so difficult. That's why it's good to have, some people outside of yourself, whether it's your editor or a separate proofreader, or just even just like having another round of beta readers near the end. If you're someone who's still, if I'm in like just kind of revising it, doing another round of beta readers can really help me see what's wrong with the story, or what's
Right.
wrong with what's the sentence structure, things like that. That's why, writing can be pretty lonely, but you can't do it alone.
Yeah, exactly. What does your writing routine look like? What what gets you into the zone?
Yeah, that's a good question too. And I'm sure you and other fellow moms or parents out there know that it can be difficult to find time to write. So, what I learned pretty early on was that if I wanted scheduled time for me to write, was that I needed to get up before them. I knew, and I might have tried it a few times, but I knew I could never stay up later than they do. Like, I know some authors do that. They'll stay up later than their families, but
Yeah.
I can't. I will just sit there and completely zone out and fall asleep with my computer in my lap. So, I have to get up in the morning. So I get up, make, get some coffee, and I'll just come and either read for a little bit, I'll read for 15, 20 minutes, or I'll just go back and read through what I already wrote if I'm drafting. So I'll
Yeah.
read like the last chapter to really get into it and then check my outline and maybe change some things. I'm sort of a plantser in that regard. I change things as I go. Um, and then I'll just get writing. And usually on a good day, I can probably get about an hour of writing in before my youngest. She's an early bird, so she'll come down the stairs, and in my writing room that I'm in, I'll hear her coming down each step. Hear her coming down, then she'll come into my room, and it'll be, it's bright with the lights on, and she'll just come in. Her hair's all messy, and she just runs up and gives
Oh,
me a hug, and then I'm like, okay, writing time's over. So then I
that's
go
the
and
end
get
of it.
them ready for the day. But at least I had
That's
my
good.
time, and that makes me happy. So yeah, I get up
That's
pretty early to do
good. Yeah. I try to do it while my youngest is in school
that.
and my
Mhm.
husband's at work. So that's my nobody's home and I can turn my music on and just sit quiet or not quietly because I can't do it with nothing on. I'm just not that.
Mhm.
Silence is very loud to me, so I have to have music on when I'm writing. So are you a in silence writer or do you like music or background noise?
Yeah, I have to do if I'm gonna play some music, it'll usually be just like classical or just instrumental music.
I'm
Um,
the same.
yeah, I can't have words in the song. As much as I love music, I if there's words or singing in the song, I can't focus. So,
Yeah. I do the same thing, like, and it depends on what I'm writing. So if I'm writing fantasy, I like to do like Celtic fantasy music or epic fantasy music. What are your other books called?
oh, okay. Yeah. So the first book that I self-published is called The Crown of Bones, and that one's a like a fairy tale adventure novel, and I sort of pitch it as like The Hunger Games meets Once Upon a Time, and there's
Ooh,
fairy tale obstacles, and I'm currently working on the sequel to that, and so hopefully that'll be out by I wanna aim for Halloween as the release date for that.
very cool.
Um, yeah, so that one, and then the second book I ever published is actually oh, nope, wrong way. You can see it behind me over here, this one with the
Oh yeah,
snake
I see
on
it.
it. So that one is A Sea of Pearls and Leaves, and it is a gothic fantasy fairy tale retelling of kind of a lesser known fairy tale. It's called by the Grimm's brothers, The Three Snake Leaves. And so that one, that fairy tale featured an eccentric princess and lots of death and things like that. And so I was
As the
really
Grimm fairy
inspired by
tales do.
that story. Yeah, I love that story so much. And so that one's A Sea of Pearls and Leaves, and that one is a standalone. But the third novel that I published, and it was with a box set um, of other novels. So I'll have to self-publish that one soon. I just haven't had the time to, once
Right.
our rights reverted back to us, which was probably like a couple months ago. I just haven't had the time to go ahead and publish it myself. But that one is called The Mermaid and the Pearl, and it's set in the same world as A Sea of Pearls and Leaves. And that
Okay.
I set it in the same world because it really did have a lot of big world building in it, and it had a lot of mythology and magic, and I knew I could fit another
Mm,
fairy tale in with that. So that one is a Little Mermaid retelling. It's a sapphic
okay.
Little Mermaid retelling with a corpse bride twist. And yeah,
Ooh.
I'll probably have to publish that one on my own soon. But yeah, got a lot
Yes.
going on book-wise, and but yeah,
They all sound
I'm
fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm really, really excited for Her Dark Enchantments. I'm sure everybody feels this way about their newest novel, but I really think this is the best thing that I've written, so I'm just so excited about it.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. And you should feel that way because, well, I mean, you're always getting better.
Yeah,
Ideally, we should always be getting better and learning and growing. So you have every right to feel that way about your newest novel. And I'm so excited to read it.
yeah,
And
thanks.
I can't wait for it to come out.
I know, I'm so excited.
So what are you doing on your own end for marketing? I know you said you were doing the giveaway for pre-order, but
Mhm.
um, are you doing local marketing or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, so I am doing my giveaway. Locally, I'm going to um, wait till it's a little closer to release day, but I am going to do or apply for to do some book signings at local bookstores. I know of a few bookstores around that are pretty good about working with authors, and so yeah, I'm going to try to apply with them to do events or just a signing at their stores. Also, this summer, I'm attending this Storybound author conference, and
Oh,
so it'll be a huge author event where we do like book signings and we have different events going on at the location. But yeah, the big one will be we just like it'll be like a huge, almost like a vendor thing, except for all books and
well, that's
all a bunch of
exciting.
authors. So I'm gonna go to that, and I'll be able to meet with other authors and sell my books. And yeah, I'm really excited to bring,
That sounds
you know,
awesome.
Her Dark Enchantments there. And yeah, and so locally, I'm going to also try to maybe work with some of the local libraries and see if they do any author events, because I know
Yeah.
we have a couple. Um, I know a couple libraries in the surrounding towns that sometimes do author events. So I'm going to you know, try to do some
Yeah.
things with this book that I've never done before with any of my other books. So it'll be kind of exciting to
That's
apply for these
awesome.
things. Yeah.
Lots of exciting stuff going on. Well, good luck, and I hope that the libraries come through for you and the bookstores come through for you. And the conference sounds awesome. Lots
Yeah.
of
I'm
exciting
really
stuff
excited for
going
that.
on.
Yeah. I know a few other authors that are going that these are some authors that I consider like my close friends. And so it'd be fun to like meet them for the first time in
Oh
person.
yeah, that's fun.
Mhm.
I always want to do that someday.
Yeah. Someday. I
Someday.
This one is not too far from where I live, so I thought I think it's now or never, because otherwise I know there's so many author conferences that are just huge, and also they're kind of far away. Like I know there's
Yeah.
in Vegas every year, and
Right.
also, fun stuff like that. I just don't know if I can go to.
They get expensive. Like
Yeah.
we have one uh, fairly local here, and it's pretty high dollar, and it's only a statewide conference, and it's pretty high for a
Yeah.
smaller conference, so they get expensive. Can't imagine like a nationwide conference and what it would cost to participate.
Yeah, just to have a table there, and then you don't know if
Yeah.
you don't know if you're gonna make that money back on book sales or, connections and things like that. So yeah, and then if you have to fly to get there, that's
Yeah.
yeah, that really adds up. So I'm lucky this one is within driving distance, and
Yeah.
yeah, and my husband's gonna come with me and help carry all my books and stuff.
Oh, good. That's good. I'm going to ask you 20 questions and you have to answer them as fast as you can, just whatever comes to mind, okay?
Oh gosh, okay.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Do you like horror movies?
Yes.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, trying to think. I really like the Exorcism of Emily Rose, if I
Oh,
have to
good
pick a
one.
movie, but, The Haunting of Hill House is my favorite series.
Nice. Very good. Who's your favorite author?
My favorite author is Shay Earnshaw.
Okay. Dog or cat person?
Both. I'm a dog person, though. I am allergic to cats, so I can't have
I
one.
same. Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes.
What kind of music do you like to listen to?
I like, more like alternative rock, I guess.
Nice. Same. Last book you read?
It was actually, my friend's book. I have the first one here, but my friend's book, it's called Death and Dragons, and it was the sequel to her first one, Witch of Weirwood, so
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
it was awesome.
All right. Guilty pleasure movie.
Mm. Oh, I'm gonna sound so silly for this, so, A Cinderella Story, the one.
I like that movie. Okay, what's your favorite board game?
Ooh, that's a good question. So there's this board game called Tribond that it gives you 3 things that have some sort of relationship to one another, and you have
Mhm.
to guess what that is, and they can be really tricky, and it's a fun sort of trivia type game, and,
Ooh, that sounds fun.
that's been one of my favorite games for years. I think in 2nd place would be Cranium. I love that game too.
Okay, cool. Would you explore a haunted house?
Yes, love to.
Awesome. What is your pet peeve?
Mm, oh, pet peeve, I don't know, like, loud gum chewing.
Oh, God, yes. What is your favorite restaurant?
Oh, well, there's a restaurant, sorta near me, and I don't know if it's all over, but it's called Wang Gang, and they have, like, Asian-inspired food there, and it is so good.
Mm, okay, pizza or burgers?
Pizza.
Pizza. Okay, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you choose to live?
Mm, Probably in Colorado.
Ooh, I like Colorado. Would you rather be able to fly or be invisible?
Mm. Oh. Probably be invisible. I think flying is cool, but I'm sort of afraid of heights, so I don't think I would like that.
Me too.
Although
Okay,
if I
what's your
could fly,
favorite?
I probably wouldn't need to be afraid, but
That's true. What's your favorite snack?
I love pretzels and hummus. That's a really good go-to snack.
Okay, and what's a food that you hate?
Mm, oh, I really don't like, I don't know, I like a lot of foods. I don't really like, crab or lobster. It's kind of random.
I'm not a fan
Mostly love
either.
seafood and stuff, but not that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either. Okay, this is a weird one. If you had a pet kangaroo, what would you name it?
Let's see. Um, hmm, Khaki?
Okay,
A khaki color.
that's a good one. I like it. In Sync or Backstreet Boys?
In sync.
Okay. And who is a writer that you admire?
That's a good question. I don't know. I know, well, my favorite author is Sharon Shawn, as much as I admire her. I also really admire, there's a couple authors that I follow, and I just love kind of everything they do, even like their more personal things that they post about. Their names are Erin A. Craig and Hannah Witten. I follow them, and I don't know, they seem like really neat people.
Okay. And all right, that's all 20. Good job.
All
See,
right,
it
thanks.
wasn't so hard.
No, so that was pretty fun.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. This was awesome, and I'm looking forward to Her Dark Enchantments. Real quick, you can have a few minutes, plug whatever you want to plug, socials, writing, anything. The stage is yours.
All right. Well, thank you. And yeah, thanks again for having me. I am so excited. This is the first podcast I've ever done. So
Oh,
this
yay,
was
I'm
really
honored.
fun. But yeah, if everyone can find me, I'm at Rosalyn Briar on both Twitter and Instagram. And make sure to check out the pre-order giveaway, and that's in both of my bios. You'll be able to see it in my link tree. There'll be a whole pre-order giveaway in there. And so I'm giving away signed copies of Her Dark Enchantments. I'm giving away custom candles, custom nail polish, character art,
Cool.
bookmarks, recipe cards, just a bunch of things in
That's
the
so
book.
cool.
Yeah, and everyone who enters the pre-order giveaway, whether they win or not. So everyone who enters will receive a poetry collection and also a little spell book just full of like self-care recipes and remedies.
Oh,
And
very
so
cool.
yeah, so everyone gets those if they enter the pre-order giveaway. And yeah, so I'm at Rosalyn Briar. Trying to think of anything else. My website is rosalynbriar.com. So you can subscribe to my newsletter if you want to stay updated about Her Dark Enchantments. And
All
also
right,
make
very
sure to
cool.
obviously subscribe to Quill and Crow's newsletter for any
Yes.
updates as well.
Yes. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much for being here, and I cannot wait for your book. And I
Yeah.
really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you so much, Jax. I really appreciate this.
Okay, and thank you everybody for joining us. Please like and subscribe, and thank you for joining us on Ravens and Writing Desks.